Welcome to Basic Brewing Radio for Thursday, August 16th, 2012. I'm James Spencer. Here at Basic Brewing Radio, we're all about home brewing. With this week, the great taste of the Midwest. I traveled to Madison, Wisconsin to meet up with Bob Stempski, and we talked to a bunch of folks at one of the best beer events in the country. If you're new to home brewing or would like to get into the hobby for the first time, check out our website, basicbrewing.com, where you can find archives of our audio and video podcasts and our DVDs to walk you through basic and more advanced brewing techniques. You can follow me on Twitter. My username is Basic Brewing, all one word. Also, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/basicbrewing.james. We also have a Basic Brewing Radio and Basic Brewing Video page on Facebook, facebook.com/basicbrewing. And thanks again to everybody clicking on the Amazon.com associate link on our basicbrewing.com site. Whenever you think of Amazon, don't go there directly. Go to us first. Go to basicbrewing.com first. Click on our Amazon logo link there. It will take you to Amazon, and then we'll get a chunk of whatever you buy during that section. And the beauty of it is it won't cost you any extra, and you'll be helping us to bring you the show. We greatly appreciate your support. Especially, I rented a car to drive up to Wisconsin, and, hotel rooms cost money, food costs money, so your support helped make this episode possible. It sounded like public radio. We also have associate links for Brew Your Own magazine and the American Homebrewers Association on our site, too. You can find our Basic Brewing iPhone and Android podcast apps on their respective stores. We're on the BlackBerry podcast directory, and we're on the Stitcher app as well. Members of the Underground Brewers Club of Connecticut refer to themselves as the second oldest brew club in the country. And for the 23rd year, they're holding the Southern New England Regional Homebrew Competition. Registration for the competition is open now. The competition will take place Sunday, October 7th at the Edmond Town Hall in Newtown, Connecticut. There's no limit to the number of beers entered by each brewer. Entries will be accepted starting September 8th and ending September 29th. So if you don't have anything in your basement or in your cellar, in your fridge that you're proud of right now, you can crank up the brew pot and get ready. You can find out details on the competition at undergroundbrewers.org. That's undergroundbrewers.org. Find out how you can enter and the fees and all that good stuff. And good luck to everybody who takes part. The Madison Homebrewers and Tasters Guild has been around for a while, too, This year marks the 26th anniversary of their Great Taste of the Midwest up there in Madison, Wisconsin. It's just a one-day deal. It's only held from 1 o'clock in the afternoon until 6 o'clock. 142 brewers from around the region came this year to bring their best game, serving beers that you may not find anywhere else, because this crowd loves to taste experimental stuff. And as you can understand, demand for tickets is very high. 6,000 people attended this year. Half of those tickets were sold through the mail via a lottery system, and the other half were sold to people who camped out and stood in line at ticket-selling locations around the city. And the tickets are gone in less than an hour. Now, I learned about this event through our buddy Bob Stempski, a Wisconsin native, Packer fan, and all-around great guy. I drove up to Madison this past weekend. It was quite a haul, around 11 and a half hours, but it was worth it. And I got to thank Bob for the help covering the event. Bob shot interviews for me on video, which we'll see on the upcoming episode of Basic Brewing Video. Bob and I also went to Gorst Valley Hops' experimental farm to interview James Altweiss and to get some video footage there as well. And, of course, we trekked over to New Glarus to look around the brewery and to pick up some tasty beers, too. Now, we didn't shoot anything over there. Selfishly, we just picked up some beers. So, what you're about to hear are the sounds of the great taste of the Midwest. Many thanks to Mark Garthwaite and Tony Jacques of the Madison Homebrewers and Tasters Guild for getting us into the event. You will hear a quick interview with Garrett Marrero along the way in today's show of Maui Brewing Company. I didn't specifically identify him well in the interviews. That's why I'm pointing him out now. Now, it was a surprise to see him because he's not a Midwestern brewer, but he is traveling around the country looking at different brewery setups because he's planning to expand. So it was great to see Garrett, talk to him. Okay, let's start with a chat with Mark Garthwaite, who is chairman of the event. Okay. You're Mark Garthwaite?
Garthwaite, yep.
What's your official title?
My official title is Sucker, but it's actually chairman of the Great Taste of the Midwest.
Tell us about the event.
Well, the Great Taste, this is the 26th year of Great Taste of the Midwest. I think this year, 1994 or 95 was the first year that we used this park, Old Interval Park. It started actually right around the same time as Great American Beer Festival happened, where a few people, there's probably only one person in the world who's been to both the first Great Taste of the Midwest and the first GABF, and that was our longtime chairman, Bob Droust. But I think they had some pretty good ideas when they went to the very first GABF and thought, we could really do that in Madison. And that was the genesis of the Great Taste of the Midwest, and there are, I think, maybe 11 breweries that first year or something like that, and now we're here in 2012, we've exploded up to 142.
How many people do you expect?
Well, we sell 6,000 tickets, and we sell those tickets on the first Sunday in May every year, and they sell out in approximately 1 hour. It's turned into an event itself, and we've kind of had an offshoot of Madison Craft Beer Week, has kind of been centered around, or culminates with the sales of the Great Taste tickets. So there's 6,000 people that get a crack at it, 3,000 camp out for an opportunity to buy tickets, and then the other 3,000 are in a mail order lottery that's strictly random. So
wow.
It's a tough ticket.
So this is just, is there a judging or contest to go along with this?
There is specifically no judging at this contest. The only time we ever actually had any judging, there was a time where some laws in Minnesota prevented brew pubs from bringing beer off premise unless it was for tasting competitions. So we set up a small tasting competition at the Great Taste of the Midwest that was strictly for Minnesota breweries. So that's how we were able to get them into the Great Taste, but it's never been a competition at all. Only informally among brewers, but I think mainly this event is an opportunity for brewers to just let it all out and show each other what they got. So, and I would actually more refer to this as a brewers festival rather than a beer festival, because they are our rock stars, and this doesn't happen like this without them.
So it's all about beer education.
It's largely about beer education, but I think it's also about pushing the boundaries a little bit, because for many years, like before, for example, bourbon barrel aged beers became common, we started seeing a lot of those beers here, and there was one of our members, Tom Griffin, who now delivers bourbon barrels all over the country, was largely responsible for kicking that trend off. So we'll often see little trends before they really get big. So this is the target audience. This is the strike zone audience for people who would be receptive to very different and strange and new things.
So what's the next trend?
That's a good question. My hope is I think sour beers are still pretty hot, and experimenting with Brettanomyces. Oddly enough, I think it's almost sort of come full circle that we're seeing a lot more fruit beers now. And I think that my speculation is that a lot of the younger people now who are of age, they were kids when their parents were exploring the very first, what then was called microbrews. And now we call them craft brews. But I think they grew up with things that many of us who organized this, that we were exploring new things that nobody ever did here. Many of the younger people have access to beers that they knew their parents were trying. And I remember fruit beers people would want to do funky things with fruit beers, right? But it was really hard. And it's sort of come full circle. I think that the kids back then, they remember the fruit beer craze, and it seems to me, I could be making it up, but that's the way it looks to me, is it's kind of regenerating.
Yeah. So this is a charitable event as well.
It is a charitable event, exactly. For many, many years, there's a community radio station, WORT, which was a natural fit for our support. But community radio, WORT, it's very much like a homebrew radio station here in town. So the symbiosis, it was a perfect match. They rely on contributions to their station for their operations. So we had a great relationship for many years. They would help us provide volunteers for this event. And truly, I think WRT is very instrumental to what has become the Great Taste of the Midwest, because they provided the model, the volunteer model that we've, I think, perfected.
Why not expand it? I mean, if you have all these people that are clamoring for the tickets, you've got all this excess demand,
Sure.
Why not expand it?
It's a good question, and I think many of us in our heart of hearts want to do that. But it also goes back to the it being a volunteer-run organization. That becomes very difficult to manage at times when you make. So we make very incremental changes that we know that we can manage. We also have here one of the most beautiful parks in southern Wisconsin, and the city of Madison has been very, very generous in allowing us to use this park. And we have a great deal of respect for this park. It's a community treasure, and we want to make sure that we're giving this park back in the same condition that we found it. And to expand would be really hard to do. We can't rule it out, but it would be something that we would have to think very carefully about.
And expanding it, sort of, things that are more rare are more valuable.
That's very true. There's double-edged swords in many ways, but it's a tough question. That's the one I struggle with the most, I think, because I know that I see the emails that come into the Great Taste email address, and I see what comments on Twitter and Facebook, and message boards, and really, I'm humbled by some of the things that people say about this event, how much it means to them. So it really does, truly and honestly, it tugs at a lot of our hearts when we know that there are people who have gone to the Great Taste for 10 years and then they can't get tickets, and how disappointed they are. That can be the thing that might push us in a direction to do something like that, but it would be a very difficult prospect, I think.
Anything else you can think of?
I would just say if you can't make it to the Great Taste of the Midwest, it's expanded beyond the borders of the park within the last couple of years with a lot of Great Taste pre-parties. So the city of Madison this year had over 40 brewery events at bars and taverns around town. So it was almost like a festival in and of itself. So we're really gratified by that, because it gives an opportunity for people who don't have tickets. They can go and try a lot of the unusual beers that will be here today. So and it won't cost them a penny other than the pint that they buy. So that would be my advice. If you can't get tickets, come to Madison anyway. There's a lot of fun beer events going on. And also, if you are at the Great Taste of the Midwest, or you have the opportunity, hydrate. Small samples. Dump what you don't want to finish. But just have fun and congratulate the brewers for their work, because this truly is an event that is about them.
Awesome. Thanks, Martin.
Thank you. I'm glad to join you.
Now we're talking to the Unruly Mob here, getting ready to go into the Great Taste. How long have you guys been in line?
I think we've been in line about a half hour or so.
And how did you get your tickets?
I got my tickets from him, so he's the man to ask about that.
Well, how did you get your tickets?
Well, last year we tried to camp out. Actually, we didn't really camp out. We tried to get in line for tickets and found out that everybody camps out for tickets. So we did the mail-in lottery.
Ah, so you did it the lazy way from home.
The lazy way, yeah. The smart way. Yeah. I had some friends and family send in some applications, and so friends and family are here, yeah.
So did you have to have references, or?
I think just a check and a self-addressed stamped envelope is all that's required, yeah.
So has anybody been to the event before?
I think I'm the only one out of this group.
Why go?
Why go? If you're a beer lover, I mean, there's 600 beers in here from 130, 140 different breweries, and there's a lot of stuff in there that you can't get any other way except to come to this event and taste it.
So are you guys excited?
Absolutely. Very excited.
Anticipation.
Well, good luck. Have fun.
Thank you.
So what's your name?
Dirk Leshnak, Ripon, Wisconsin.
So is this your first Great Taste?
Called my 25th, maybe 20th. I've been almost everyone.
Really?
Yeah.
So how do you manage to get tickets for everyone?
Well, we go to the ticket outlet at the liquor store downtown and wait in line for about 5 hours. And it's a fun, mellow atmosphere. It's a good time.
And it's close to a liquor store.
Yeah, and a little bar, so we do all right.
So what do you like most about the event?
A lot of great beer and a lot of great people. Everyone's like polite, they get a good buzz going, but there's no trouble. Everyone's just having a good time, camaraderie, And
So even though there's this throng of people, there's not a problem with sharing.
no, never. There's plenty. Everyone's cool.
All right, well, the line is moving, so you got to
I
get
better
going.
get going. See you later.
Cheers. Let me get your name.
Andrea.
Andrea, you are in the spirit of things here today.
I work for the Tiredina Brewing Company, and our theme this year is Christmas in August. So we're all trying to, get in the spirit.
Spread the cheer.
Yeah.
So how come you're not in already?
Well, there's already a crew in there that did all the setup and stuff. I'll be working later in the day.
Oh, okay. Is this your first one?
Yes.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited. I'm ready to drink some really good beer, too.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Tell me who you are again and where you're from.
Mark Butera. I'm the founder of Oso Brewing Company in Plover, Wisconsin.
So how long have you been coming to these?
This is our 4th year, and so we're not even 5 years old. So, yeah.
How important is this event to your brewery?
Oh, this is our time to shine. We always bring crazy beers that we probably never intend to put out again. So that's what people are looking for.
So what kinds of things do you have this year?
We have a sour brown. We have our rusty red on a Brett fermentation, lemongrass wit, a smoked lager, some pretty good stuff. Our spikes maple made with maple sap instead of water. It's pretty good stuff.
So this crowd, you're able to give them beers that other crowds you might not.
Oh, certainly. I mean, everybody's breaking out the stops. This is where everybody's trying to showcase their craziness. So, yep.
Well, fix me up with something. What are you proud of today?
This Ode Bruin I like a lot.
The Ode Bruin.
It's a wee heavy base, and it's soured with Lamicus, aged in old brandy barrels, and it's pretty tart, pretty tasty. It's about 9%, so you gotta watch out.
Wow, it's delicious.
Yeah, thank you.
If you're a home brewer, what are your tips on this?
You can buy a culture from Y Yeast or White Labs that'll do the same thing. So you just ferment a wee heavy and then pitch that in the secondary, the Lamicus, and let it go. That took us about 4 months only in the barrels that we had. So,
really?
Yeah.
And you could substitute wood chips, I guess, if you're
you
a
can
home
do
brewer?
wood chips. Yeah, the wood's good. That's the home for the bugs. If you do it in glass, it won't be the same, but it won't be as tart. But you can put some wood chips in there, get a little oxygen in there. You can get it pretty tart.
This is delicious.
Hey, thanks a bunch, man.
Well, good luck.
Cheers. Thanks.
Okay, first of all, tell me who you are.
I'm Joel Armato from New Holland Brewing Company.
Now, Joe, you look like you've seen better days. What happened?
These are some of my best days. I'm on my way to the Zombie Prom over at our booth. We've got the dance floor laid out, so I'm getting ready to kind of bust a move.
Describe for those who are listening and not looking, what are you wearing?
Well, I'm in my finest tux here, or suit really, and I'm dressed for the prom. And on the way to the prom, I got bit by the zombie bug, and now I'm looking for someone to bite.
Is beer a good cure for zombie?
Beer's a good cure for everything. So zombies, yes, too.
What does this mean to your brewery?
Oh, this is huge. This is an event that we love and look forward to every year, and it gives us a chance to it gives them a chance to kind of flex those creative muscles and do something that's a little out of the ordinary and out of the box. And for us, just being here and being a part of all these great beers from the Midwest is huge.
So I know that there's no official competition, but is there something going underneath the cover here that we don't know about? People competing with each other?
Oh yeah, I think there's always something swelling underneath when you get a chance to do something like this, like I said, and really step outside the box and step outside the day to day. So everybody's always trying to outdo each other and kind of but in the name of fun. I mean, we're all just trying to have as much fun as possible.
So what have you got on tap that you're proud of?
We got some great beers from the normal lineup: our IPA, Mad Hatter, Sundog Amber Ale, our Kolsch Full Circle, Dragon's Milk, which is our bourbon barrel stout that people really like. And then we've got some real cool specialty stuff today as well. We've got a single barrel of Blue Sunday, which is our sour. It's a blended sour. So we kegged off one barrel of it, barrel 16, so that's going on. We have the blend of the Undead that will be opening. That's a bottle. And that's a blend of different sour beers, and then some other beers that weren't sour that we kind of let go sour as an experiment. So we'll be doing that as well. So special tapping, special pouring, and then all the day-to-day stuff that people really like.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Good luck.
Cheers. Yeah, thanks. Cheers.
Cheers. So introduce yourself again.
Dan Heisler with New Holland Brewing.
Well, Dan, What have I got here in my hand?
You've got Dragon's Milk there. That's our bourbon barrel aged, let's call it a stout or strong ale. Lots of bourbon flavor, vanilla.
It's very chocolatey.
Yeah.
There's lots of vanilla in there. So if I'm a home brewer and I want to make a clone of this, give me some
Trying to
clues.
do a clone of that. Stick with some pretty neutral yeast, 1056. And you're going to have to put some spirals in there, and you're probably going to need to go for a month and a half, 2 months. Really let it sit down for a while and soak in some of that oak character. And then the bourbon, you might even have to dose it with a little bit of bourbon because some of that bourbon is still soaked into the oak staves.
It's delicious. It's very, very chocolatey.
Yeah,
I mean, give us a little hint on the grain bill.
On the grain bill, don't really take it too complicated. It's an all-in beer, so you can throw in some caramel and you can throw in some roast, but the idea is to not make it too much into a stout, right? Don't overpower it with the heavy stout flavors. Keep it as a lighter beer, and then it'll absorb more of that oak character as it goes along in the barrels for a few months.
So what have you got fun that you don't usually have that you're playing for this crowd?
We've got a couple of beers that we're going to have out later. It's going to be mostly sours. Various versions on our Blue Sunday sour. I can find that list here in a second.
That's okay.
I've got a list of when they come on, but I don't have it in front of me. But it'll be Blue Sunday, and then a vintage Blue Sunday should be Blue Sunday 16. And then a special blend, I think something for the Zombie Fest. I'm not up on my terminology.
So this is a fun event for you as a brewer, right?
Yeah, we have our man Steve Sabatini here running the show, and then we get to come and talk to everybody a little bit about the beers.
And show off.
And show off a little bit.
Well, thanks a lot. Good luck to you.
Yeah, glad you enjoyed those beers.
All right, first of all, tell me your name and where you're from.
I'm Eric Coonan from Coonan Brewing Company, Warren, Michigan. We've been around for about 10 years. Actually, it took us 2 years to get the whole establishment open, so you could say 12 years, but 10 years have actually been opening.
So I have the Mandarin in my hand right now from your brewery. Tell me about it.
It's just we every year we do our regular beers and we bring out a theme because we love this festival so much. It's fun to do something weird and different. So this year we're doing the Year of Asian Persuasion, Coonan Dynasty, and it's just fun stuff to do. We've got, we're on the backboard. If you take a picture, there's got some of the different ones. We have 3 different meads. We have the citrus mead, we have the 5-spice methylgen, and then we have the lychee strawberry pine mint. So those are all fun ones to do. We also have a couple other ones as well. We have the Tai Chi Weizen. That's really an interesting one as well. A couple of them are at the Real Ale tent right now too. We have a ginger cinnamon IPA. So we love doing this and showing off. I'd have to say that it's like, if nothing else, it's showing off that we love playing with flavor and doing different cool stuff. So it's showing that I can take like a theme like this and do some really cool different stuff for you to try that's actually different, and it's out of what you're normally going to drink maybe. You might not even want to drink much of it, but you're going to say that's interesting and different. But it's fun when we do this stuff, and some of the stuff has actually come a long way. We actually have our Creme Brulee Java Stout. We've got a 3 o'clock release party for it today, and that's one that we did years ago for our Breakfast of Champions, that we did a bunch of breakfast beers, and it's actually a Creme Brulee Java Stout that we actually made up. That was a really interesting beer that caught on so well that basically we kept doing it for years and years and years, and like at this festival, they really love this stuff. It's like they dump it on their heads. It's like insane. It's insane. So what we do is we just make it a limited edition. We got it going on at 3 o'clock, and you'll see a line out the door for the thing. It's insane. But it's fun stuff. So we do those, and then we still have our regular core beers on the side here. Like we got our Looney Cooney Pale Ale, our Drippa Double Rice IPA, which is we won gold at the World Beer Cup for IPA this year in 2012. So we're really proud of that one. That's awesome. And then we got our Fluffer. The Fluffer is a session IPA. It's actually a beer to get you started before you go on to the big rounds of drinking the regular IPAs, because our regular IPA is so big. And then
what's the ABV of that?
Of the fluffer?
Yeah.
4 3/4% alcohol.
Huh?
So it's nice and very easy drinkable, but still has an aggressive bitterness for people that love something that's actually a nice IPA. It has still a nice floral aroma to the background using Citra hops. Very similar to what our double rice IPA, our Drippa, which is kind of unusual for an IPA as well because we do a cereal decoction mash with using rice. So it kind of helped us inspire this whole theme as well with the Asian persuasion because of rice. We've done that beer using rice, doing a cereal rice decoction mash, which is very unusual because it's ridiculous for a small brewery to do it because it's so labor intensive. People would say, why would you even bother? Because it basically drags out our brew session an extra 2 to 3 hours. We started doing that whole thing, playing with the cereal rice decoction mash with adjunct, using it. About a third of the grist bill is rice. We did that because we did our classic American, our regular domestic
Pilsner?
Yeah, domestic Pilsner that way in the first part, and then we progressed and said, well, we did it that way, so let's beat ourselves even more and actually let's do a double rice IPA the same way because we love that dry and crisp characteristic we get from using rice in the cereal mash. So we thought it'd be a fun, different thing to do.
So what does this event mean to you guys?
Fun. I love coming out here because I love going out to a festival that people just the Tasters Guild in Madison has done such a good job of putting this on, and they've made it evolve every year that I've been going. We've been doing it for pretty much since our existence. We've been doing it for 10 years. And you come out here, and every year they make it and work it to make it a better festival, which, unlike other festivals, they're clueless on what they're doing, and they're all about usually money-making. These guys are all about making just a better festival. And it's an unusual group of people to actually make that happen. And it's a great thing to see this kind of thing go on. And we're proud to come back and support these guys every single year. It's just a great event. We love it.
Well, Garrett, I just saw you, just a few weeks ago, and here we are again. You're going to be a regular to the podcast.
Yeah, it feels like it. It was about 3-4 weeks ago, but
yeah.
I know the time flies, and just happened to be out here in Madison on Great Taste of the Midwest. Why not?
So you're on a fact-finding tour right now, right?
I am. I often get criticized for the level of difficulty of my job right now. I did just finish installing some tanks the morning I left, but I've been on a research mission from Detroit all the way through, now Madison, back to Milwaukee on brew houses, and the expansion at Bell's was a good education. John was a big help over there. With building our new brewery, I've got to do my homework, and homework means experiencing new beers and new breweries. So,
what do you think of this?
This is fantastic. Like I said when I came out, literally I just can't say anything but wow most of the time. I walk around and they opened the gates and it was like the floodwaters let free, and there were people literally running from the front line to get to their favorite booths and get in line. I was at New Glarus having a good discussion with a guy, and all of a sudden I look behind me and the line went from 2 people to probably 60 people. And they have a wonderful creek aged in barrels that I had the opportunity to try, thank God, before they're going to drink it all. Been great. Yeah.
So what other things have surprised you here?
It's very very brewer friendly. A lot of festivals these days with a lot of rules, obviously a lot of liquor control departments around the country, which we totally respect and understand. But here it seems to be like they have this session from 10 to 1 almost for brewers and VIP while you're setting up, and you get to come in and experience the beers, say hi to your friends, real mellow 3-hour setup, and then they let everyone in at 1 and the madness ensues. But the food's been great. The beer selection I've been very impressed with. I'm largely unfamiliar with a lot of the Midwestern beers, and I've been very impressed with the quality.
Now, I haven't been into this tent right here, but that's a tent full of cask ales.
All cask. I'd guess there's got to be 60 or more casks in there. I took a couple pictures earlier. I thought it was interesting. It's on a nice incline, as you can see here, and they used pallet racking, and they just tiered it down. So there's 3 different stages of pallet racking, 3 levels full of cask.
Yeah.
And I actually just came out of there because I was like, God, I need to really get a plan before I go in there. Just looking at some of the beers that they have is just amazing. So it's been great.
But that's got to have a mental effect on you when the shelves are tilted, but they're actually level and the ground is
the ground
here at about 5:30. That's going to be a little.
The ground's obviously inclined. The tables are tilted, but the casks are all straight and level. So there's definitely a
like Uncle
playing
Wiggley's
with the mind.
Funhouse or something.
It is.
I told Bob that it was Whomper Jawed, and he'd never heard that before. So
I haven't heard that either. But I had some great beers. I had Surly No. 5. Their 5-year anniversary beer is 100% Brett fermented. That was one of my favorites so far. Had a great beer up at was it Haystack or they had a beer de garde that was fantastic. And then they did the Five Rabbit, which is out here. They did this one with chamomile and coriander and all these different spices, and they have a Latin wit beer that I'm going to go back to try a little later. But really having a great time. Awesome. I mean, just the selection is just unreal. So,
well, get back to your research.
I will.
It's good to see you again.
Taking mental notes.
There you go.
Yeah, it's great to see you, James.
Cheers.
Aloha.
My name is Les Hoffman, and I am the Real Ale Czar. I'm the guy in charge of this madhouse called the Real Ale Tent. And this is the 7th year that we've done this at the Great Taste of the Midwest. What makes this special is that the beer is in a gravity-served container called a firkin, and the beer is fermented in that barrel. It's actually conditioned and done a secondary fermentation inside of that vessel, and we're serving it now. The beers are not the traditional English style firkin ales necessarily. We have Belgian, we have even a Pilsner, a non-traditional lager type beer here, but this was all inspired by British brewing for the last couple of 100 years.
So what kind of character do we get from the cask that we wouldn't otherwise?
You get a little different mouthfeel because the beer is not as heavily carbonated. You get to really taste the ingredients for the beer. You get to taste the brewer's art, if you will. Many times there are nuances in the beer here that you don't get when you have it cold and fizzy.
And this beer is not fresh forever, is it?
It's not.
It's not fresh forever, is it?
No, this is basically for today. What's left over today, a lot of it will probably go on the ground. This is like in the moment. This is drink the beer now. It's at its best now. It's actually open to the air, so that once we broach the cask, when we open it up, the beer doesn't last that long. And indeed, even in England, in the UK where this style began, they don't keep the firkins online for more than about 3 days.
So in a way, this is kind of it kind of goes along with the festival, right? Because the festival is just for a limited amount of time.
It is. And we do our best to keep the beer clear and settled out, but we only have 24 hours to do that, basically. Whereas if you go to England, they'll say they should be still in one place for probably 2 days or more. So we do our best. And I think the results are amazing. If you look at the happy people here, I think that speaks a lot.
Brian Turner. I work for Goose Island in Chicago.
And what have you got going on here? This is the most elaborate thing here, I think.
We're doing individual blending of Bourbon County Stout. So what we did was we took Bourbon County Stout out of very individual barrels that had characteristics like vanilla or bourbon, chocolate, or smoky kind of characters. We're giving everyone those individual 1 ounce samples so that they can make their own blend. And we also are teaching them about our whole barrel aging process.
So this is kind of like what you guys do for real.
It is. It's exactly what we do. So it gives people a kind of fun of experience of what I do every day.
So you're involved with the barrel aging program?
That's my job is specifically to work with the wooden barrels. That's all I do.
Wow, that doesn't suck.
No.
So what barrels are we looking at here?
They're all from Heaven Hill Distillery. We use their barrels once used, and then we don't reuse them typically. And we age it 8 to 12 months, and then it gets processed and makes it out on the shelves.
So a lot of our audience is homebrewers, or most of our audience is homebrewers. So what do you guys do with the barrels after you get done with them?
Other breweries buy them, or sometimes we do have actual sales to like home brewers and stuff like that. It only happens once every couple of years, but a lot of times they're actually repurposed. We've even had other companies looking at, they wanted to try to make them for furniture and things like that. So we do try to reuse as much as we possibly can. They're not getting thrown out by all means. They're always going and being used for something else. Mostly other breweries. So,
do you see with each individual that comes through, when they're blending their own, does it come close to what you prefer?
I've only tried one person's blend. So I hope. I mean, there are other characteristics that come out of barrels, but we don't, we have to limit it in this kind of situation. But that's the beauty of the whole thing with Bourbon County Stout, is that we actually take the time.
Well, thanks for talking to me.
Yeah, no problem.
Cheers. Okay, first of all, let me get your name.
Robbie Weber.
And you are sitting in a chair. This is your chair, right?
No. This is a chair that is next to my friend's chairs. that is unoccupied at the moment.
So I've noticed there are these little pockets of chairs in the shady spots.
Yeah, you got to plan ahead.
So you bring the chairs in with you.
Yes.
And then as soon as you get in, you just find a spot and you plunk it down?
Well, there's not like a shortage of shade here. It doesn't take that much planning. It's not that hard.
So you gotta figure out where the shady spots are going to be during the day, and then you come.
Actually, not even that hard. This was shady when we got here, and it's still shady. It's I don't know. We put our chair down where everybody else did, and it seemed to be the right place. Now we're living large.
So you're taking a break. You put the chair down. You go find your beers, and then you come back and
there, and there. So you can make a run, come back, watch people. We got a band right in front of us doing Pixies covers with lots of language that you probably can't even put on the air or on your podcast even. So there's plenty to do and see.
Well, awesome. It's kind of it's like a little portable amphitheater right here.
It is that. Yeah, I hadn't looked. I mean, it's behind me, so you got a better view than I do, but indeed.
Is this your first great tip?
First, yeah.
Not
but
my first.
She's a veteran, yeah.
Okay.
I used to run the bicycle parking here. They used to have sponsored bicycle parking, and we used to park 300 bikes during this event because it's very hard to drive here, and it's very easy to bike here. And so we used to have valet bicycle parking. People would give us their bikes. They'd get a claim ticket. We would guard their bikes the entire time. They'd come back, their claim ticket, we'd give them their bikes, and they'd ride home. Or they, in some cases, could not ride home, and that was in some cases a self-limiting proposition for you're not able to ride home and you shouldn't be riding home.
Well, that's one thing that I've noticed in reading the literature and looking at the website. The club does do a very good job of making sure that people are taken care of at the end of the event, and it's a very serious, responsible commitment that the club has done.
That's one of the reasons I really enjoy this event. I've been coming here for 12 years, and it ends at 6 p.m., so people have lots of time to get themselves together before they have to travel. And there's lots of buses from the brew pubs, and it's a very easy spot to get to by walking, by biking, by taking the shuttles from the brew pubs. And yes, I think they are very good about being responsible, and they limit the number of people that can come in, which I think is a wonderful thing.
And there's even subsidized taxi rides.
Absolutely. I think it's fantastic. All the taxi companies do a wonderful job, and I've actually never taken the taxi. I think it's maybe $1, but they encourage you to tip well.
As well they should.
I think it's a great event, and I so much enjoy it, and it's such a beautiful setting.
It's amazing.
So I'm kind of curious what podcast this is for, or what outlet.
We're Basic Brewing Radio, and which is what this is good. But we also do a video podcast. But we're mostly about home brewing, but we also catered to craft beer lovers as well. So.
Well, I'm a local, and I will tell you that I have discovered a lot of wonderful beers right here that I then will order at bars. So I'm sure that's exactly what the brewers want to hear. And, this event has in many ways really transformed my beer drinking.
She's already planning a trip to Omaha to go see, what brewery is it, Robbie? Hey, Robbie. I was telling him that you've got a planned trip to Omaha already to go see somebody.
I have a road trip that I have to get to Colorado, and I'm going to have to take a break somewhere. So I was checking out the breweries in Nebraska to see where I could stop.
You are a well-informed traveler.
And I want to find some sort of accommodations that is close to the brewery so that I can walk home to my...
There you go. It's all about the responsibility.
To my hotel afterwards, absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Yep. Y'all have fun.
Thank you.
Cheers. So Bob Stempski, you are the reason that Basic Brewing Radio and Basic Brewing Videos here in...
Beer Fest 2012! Yeah!
Can you tell it's 6 o'clock? It's at the end of the thing.
It's amazing, yeah.
So, Bob, What do you think? You've been wanting to go to the Great Taste of the Midwest for a long time. What do you think?
I think it's awesome. I've never seen so many people in my life, and I've never seen so many proper and restrained people having a very nice time, having a beer, tasting, suggesting nice places to go. It's awesome. I've never had a good time like this before.
This is a well-behaved crowd. After 5 hours of... And there's no limit on the pourings. You don't have to have anything stamped or clipped or punched or anything. You just have your glass and you go up and you sample. We are within walking distance of the hotel, which is good. Mm-hmm. But, this is a very well-behaved crowd. This is the end. They've shut up at 6 o'clock. Boom! All the beer is gone.
Oh, man, it's amazing. And, people don't realize it, but we're on our knees. Okay, we've been crawling for the last 2 hours, so it's a problem.
You're
but
exaggerating.
It is awesome. I may be exaggerating a little, but the people are awesome. The state is awesome. The city is awesome. I've never been to a group of people that enjoyed beer properly like this before. It is very good. Yeah. I'm very happy here.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Bob, for convincing me to come up. And, thank you for
oh, you're welcome.
Everything.
On Wisconsin, go Packers.
Appropriately, the theme song, or the fight song for my junior high team was On Wisconsin.
That's engine. Wow, that's
fight
amazing.
Fight 'em Vikings, dun, 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 dun.
Oh, my gosh, that's a horrible thing to say. You know who said that, or who wrote that on Wisconsin?
No.
John Philip Sousa.
Really?
Yes, he wrote it because he was a Packer fan along with everybody else in the nation. You talk about people like, Michigan, Illinois, Minnesota. They've got, I guess, semi-pro teams that play the Packers.
We're losing audience as
We're
we
losing
speak.
audience. I don't care. Go Packers!
This endorsement has not been endorsed, but we're getting input.
Badgers.
We're
getting
in
the Badgers too.
Okay, it's time to. This has been a wonderful event. Thank you, Bob. We'll see you next time.
Yes, we'll see you next time, James.
Well, thanks again to Bob and to everybody we talked to on Saturday. What a great day. Really, really a fun event. And I have to clarify that the Vikings that I was singing about in the On Wisconsin Fight song were the Hot Springs, Arkansas Southwest Junior High School Vikings, not any other professional team or amateur. And that's the team that I was singing about. Anyway, it's a team that is extinct, so it doesn't matter anyway. Lots changed in the Hot Springs School District since the 70s. I am that old. The content from Wisconsin continues next week with an interview of James Altweiss from Gorst Valley Hops. We talked to James a couple of years ago, you may remember, on this podcast over the telephone. In this past weekend, while we were in the area, we took advantage of that, and James showed us around his experimental hop farm and showed us some equipment that his company is developing specifically designed for small hop growers. So they're starting from scratch up there. Very cool. In the meantime, if you have brewing questions, show suggestions, or just want to say howdy, write to james@basicbrewing.com or just fill out the contact form on basicbrewing.com. Please don't forget to tell us where you're from. Be sure to check out our DVDs, Extract Brewing and Partial Mashing, Stepping into All-Grain, Low-Tech Lagering and Decoction Mashing, and Introduction to Wine Kits. You can find them all on our site. We've got combo deals to save you a few bucks if you want to buy more than one DVD at a time, and you can check out our Basic Brewing shirts in the store, too. You can see a listing of the fine folks across the country who sell our DVDs on basicbrewing.com, and if there isn't a vendor in your area, you can order them online in our online shop at basicbrewingshop.com. Thanks to everybody who's continued to click on our Amazon.com link. We appreciate the support there. Our featured products this week that were purchased through the link are Jaws, Blu-ray, plus DVD, plus digital copy, plus ultraviolet. I don't even know what it is that I wanted. Jaws. Boy, that movie changed my life. I went to see it back in 1975. My aunt and uncle took me to the theater where we saw it. I was 10 years old, scared well, you can imagine what it scared out of me. I was so scared. At that night, I thought a shark was going to come into my room and kill me. I also purchased through the link Joby Gorilla Torch Adjustable and Flexible Tripod Flashlight Gray. I could have used that to scare away the shark. Thanks again, everybody. Remember, I can't tell who bought what, so no worries there. Just click on the Amazon.com logo on our site the next time you feel like Amazon shopping, and we greatly appreciate your support. Don't forget you can also join the American Homebrewers Association or subscribe to Brew Your Own magazine through the associated links on basicbrewing.com. That's all until next time. Until then, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm James Spencer. Production help for Basic Brewing Radio and our website is provided by Kelly Dodson. Basic Brewing Radio is a production of Active Voicing. We'll talk to you next time, everybody. So long.